Ah, the hell with this. Who can be reasonable in a time like these, right? You want to do something completely unreasonable? Totally senseless. Makes no goddamn sense in this day and age. Let's put Windows on something. You want to let's install some Windows. Let's install Windows on a thing. Do you want to install Windows? I love it. Let's do it.
The purpose of this video is to guide you through the process of evaluating a laptop for Windows installation, as well as what to do with a laptop if it is not suitable. It will guide you through installing the basic operating system itself, as well as drivers and benchmarking. Please keep in mind that the process will be different for every laptop, so stay flexible and stay frosty.
Alright, so we've got ourselves a lovely HP 2-in-1 tablet, laptop, something or other with amazing taste and stickers. Basically everything we aspire to right here. I would love it if we could save this boy, because like that would just genuinely make my day. But let's see, right? Like, first things first, what can we determine? Is it even worth our time? 2-in-1s almost always fetch a higher price, so that gives us a little bit more time to spend with it, fortunately, which is lovely. We invest a little bit more time. Keyboard feels bad. I'm guessing water damage. First thing that's really glaringly obvious to me here is we've got buildup all over the place, and this is the kind of buildup that looks like I would say the result of corrosion, or like something spilled on it and dried up, left behind a bunch of chalky stuff. This could have been a cappuccino. Hold on. Yeah, could have definitely leaning cappuccino. Yeah, pairs well with a nice wild gummy, definitely. Not sponsored, by the way. So we've got, I'm gonna crack it open. This came fresh from the e-waste pile. You know, you get your little pad sticky notes, you start taking notes right away. So it looks like we got ourselves a bit of a battery situation. The battery is unplugged already, and it feels bumpy. Not great. Yeah, 2400 megahertz, so dim. Nothing special. We got our DDR4 here. Okay, what else is going on? This one's supposed to have an RF shield over the RAM. Cool. We don't have that. This is already going to be as is. I know that for a fact. We do not have what we need to adequately address the battery issue, or a whole lot else. And I'm also noticing, I mean, this is just something I'm just picking up on here. You know, you'll get a feel for this as you go on. But I'm just noticing, based on the design of the circuit board, this BIOS module, and just like the package size, as they call it, little doodads hang out of it. This is an old boy. This is going to be 7th gen, 6th gen maybe. Intel 6th gen, 7th gen. Let's see. With our I/O, that can help us too. Yep, the USB-C is just USB 3.0 super speed, not Thunderbolt. Does not charge over it. I bet that would give us a thing. Okay, so here's what we're going to do at this point. We'll plug it in. Remember, the battery is not plugged in. That cleared our error code, so that's cool. It was RAM related. That's not really much of a surprise, considering it didn't have any. But now it's turning on. We've got movement from our cooling fan here. We've got yeah, that's pretty good. It has the SADs. Look at that. We got dead pixel line up here. Oh, just in the top. If it weren't already doomed, I would say there might be something we could do with it. Touchscreen does not seem to work. Okay, at this point we need to start taking notes. We're gonna come up with a SKU. We're gonna use today's date. It is let's see. We need to collect as much information as we can. We already know that this is going as is, but one thing I like to do when I'm in a BIOS, if I can, is go into the password thing and use that to test the old keyboard. HP likes to beep at you. Some of them do that. somehow, miraculously, this keyboard seems fine, despite the fact that it feels terrible, and it's probably definitely corroded. So we're gonna say, yeah, KB30 signs. So we got ourselves the old NV6, or no, 360. Every manufacturer will do it a little bit differently, but the model number for HP is written right here, very specifically. Whereas over here, it's like, like versions of this model number where some of these digits are just X's, and that's fine too. Those will largely hit the same on the search results when you look it up on eBay anyway. So that's pretty cool. We did notice earlier, and I definitely, we need to make sure to write it down, the touchscreen and dead pixel. Cool, so we got some dead pixel lines, touchscreen fail, etc., etc. Cool, at the time, and then we're gonna want to go ahead and write down the chip. Oh my god, yeah, it is old. It's an FX 9800P. That's pre-Ryzen, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. If you can find what the GPU is in the BIOS, great. A lot of times you won't be able to, so that's where writing the exact model number down and looking it up, doing research on the back end will help you figure out what that GPU is. And if you don't know, that's fine. You don't know, just write it has one. You know, it's good to know. You can just say has NVIDIA or Radeon or whatever. Any information is good. By the time it gets to be as is, perfect is the enemy of the good here. Go as fast as possible. Just get it out of here. That's as is. We got exactly to the point of, hey, we know this cannot be built. We wrote down everything we discovered along the way so we can be as transparent as possible when we're listing a broken thing for parts. You know, it's good to know. Like, you don't want to buy a thing to fix your thing and have something that you were expecting. Trust me, it's a bad time. Don't ask me how I know. And yeah, you know, eBay karma or whatever. It's more real than Reddit karma. All right. We got another delicious specimen here. And yeah, once again, I was drawn to it by the stickers. Like Medusa head is easy. I'm easy to please. What can I say? I like what I like. We no longer need this charger. This one charges via Thunderbolt, USB-C. It's lovely. Make sure we are still recording. We are in frame. Everything is good. Lovely. I like it. All right. So, yeah. I know that it had been on charge for about an hour. It looked like it charged up okay. Everything seems to be good. That's really promising. I'm gonna go ahead and, ooh, okay. Before I flip it up, and go into showing you everything mode, I just want to know, we got ourselves a GPU sticker. We know it's a good one. We also, already know that it is an Intel Core i7 7th gen. So 7th gen i7 with the GPU, touchscreen, 2-in-1, pretty good. That's pretty ideal. Is it the most valuable thing that we could spend our time on? No. Cool. So we got this laptop, and it's gonna be great. Like, I honestly I'm already getting excited by how it feels in the hand. It's really solid. It almost feels solid, like a MacBook feels solid. That's insane. Alright, go ahead and open it. Oh yeah, even the feet are kind of MacBooky. Well, for those of you that partake in the stabilizers, what did you think of it? Sorry. Okay, yeah, we got power button on the side. Okay, that's great. Power button, one USB-A, headphone jack. Okay. What's happening? Screen's turning on. That's great. It's booting to Linux. Okay, quick, turn it off. No sensitive data. Okay. Well, hey, look at that. We already have a Linux. This thing's basic. Okay. Give me just a moment while I put my head in a frame. Make sure I'm pressing F10. Here's the BIOS. There we go. Aha, this is the BIOS. Okay, and we have confirmed that the stickers were not lying to us. I love that. We got 16 gigabytes of RAM. That's great. And just like me, it's a fan of ABBA. Okay, so next step. Everything else looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and, ooh, and this one doesn't yell at you. It doesn't yell at you at all. Listen to that. It's just fine. It's just like, yeah, you wanna have a crazy secure password? You be my guest. Don't ever forget that password. All right, that's good enough for me to keep going. Especially considering that the screen looks really good. Ooh, love a touchscreen in the BIOS. Where's my escape? Okay, yeah, look at that. This is great. Nice bright screen. It's not even plugged in right now. This is just off of battery. But yeah, I guess that's to be expected because it was on charge for me. Cool. Well, this is where we find ourselves in a fun place. And see, I'm gonna go ahead and restore security settings to the default. HP likes to make us put in a little code. So I'm gonna go boot option. Okay, cool. So now that we have a system that is passing all of our initial tests. Go ahead and we're gonna sit down and take a second here because this is exciting. This is we've got a live one on the hook. This might actually be a viable build. It has excellent overall cosmetic condition, no signs of big bad spillage. The stickers on the outside are not gonna be that bad to get rid of. Which, like, that might not sound like it would total a laptop, but if it's old enough and you're just cranking them out really fast, and then you have that one with that like security sticker that just takes like forever. So you're at the point where you have a laptop that meets this criteria, where cosmetically it's overall pretty good. The keyboard works, touchscreen seems to work, display looks good. We have a viable build. We gotta talk about BIOS settings real quick. So BIOS is your basic input-output system. It's a small piece of software. It lives in the motherboard, like soldered into the motherboard, that just controls, you know, all of the signals going through the machine. Settings in here can allow you to change how much power different devices get. It can allow you to change things like whether certain features are enabled or disabled. It can absolutely change how your computer functions. A lot of the time now, you know, going with the default thing is pretty good, especially for what we do. Custom configurations, you might want to, you know, really go in and check a lot of this stuff. But for a lot of the time, you're gonna want to just kind of go BIOS defaults. And the settings that can really give you a bad time are pretty much boot options and security settings. So secure boot's one of the first things that can be a real bummer. The first thing is whether it is enabled or disabled. If it doesn't have secure boot, you can't put Windows 11 on it, and Windows 11 is the only Windows that's supported right now, so you gotta go Windows 11. Secure boot versus legacy support. Legacy support refers to old kind of loading in the boot files. Don't worry about it a whole lot other than just know that if legacy support is enabled at all, secure boot will likely be disabled and you can't put Windows on it. So you'll pretty much always want to see legacy support be disabled under boot options. And then right now we're going to want to change this one to secure boot. Hang on, I can't see. Secure boot enabled. This setting may make it unable to boot to the operating system. That's fine. I don't know whose operating system that is, and frankly, I'm scared. Cool. There we go. And okay, so yeah, if legacy support is enabled, secure boot will be disabled even if you go in and try to enable it. So make sure to switch legacy support to save and go ahead and secure boot. At that point, there can be issues with secure boot keys. If you run into an issue where you install Windows, seems like it's about to boot to the OS and the system shuts down, sometimes a quick BIOS update is all it needs. That'll be a different segment. First thing I would try in such an event is to load setup defaults. Yes. Back to boot. These were the defaults. That makes sense. We could have just started with it. It can be dangerous to start with that in some circumstances. It's really rare. Whoever owned the system before we got to it might have had some weird settings that they enabled that can make it bad for our use case. So you can load setup defaults there. If you think anything's weird and you don't want to go poking around through all the things, you might have to, probably will have to reinstall Windows again. But chances are you haven't gotten very far if you're still dealing with boot issues. So go ahead and clear TPM. That's going to be the trusted platform module. It's a special little module that handles security key encryption, which makes it so that it is just end-to-end. Theoretically, you can go in there and get it. And when you clear them, it means that the old encryption keys that the previous owner used disappear. So it already would have been pretty secure, but doing that just makes it super great. Boot options, TP. Okay. So those are secure boot encryption keys. Kind of like TPM, they have special keys that handle encryption just to kind of make sure that only signed operating systems are being run. The nice thing about that feature is that it makes sure that if, you know, somebody tries to install a different operating system on your machine and then boot to that and then get your data, your sensitive data that way, it won't even boot. You don't even know this all right now. I'm just saying it so that it's okay. Here we go. I'm gonna go clear secure boot keys again and 7 plus enter, and now I'm going to load HP default keys. Every manufacturer is going to have a slightly different one. This is kind of sadly a little bit normal, especially for these older systems that barely make the cut for Windows 11. sometimes the secure boot key situation gets a little bit strange. So yeah, you gotta do it exactly the right way. Hopefully loading the factory default ones will let us install fresh Windows. Let's give it a try. Saving changes, and cool. We're gonna go ahead and reboot. Boom, give me the error. That's nice. Cool. This one before. Press any key. Yeah, we're gone. 360 convertibles. Don't or do. I don't know. I digress. We have now booted to the Windows 11 installer. What we're going to want to do from here is actually not what you'd expect. Don't immediately go through the menus. You can if you want to, but first, Shift plus F10. Sometimes you're going to go Shift, let me go over here, Shift plus function sometimes, kind of depends. So if Shift plus F10 doesn't bring it up right away, you can go Shift function. And now we're going to go into a Microsoft terminal utility called diskpart. Just type in diskpart. It's going to load into it. Type in this command, list disk. Boom. Cool. It sees both of our disks in there. There's a 200 whatever gigabyte thing. We can go select disk. Oh, no muscle memory of this keyboard, and I'm typing. Okay, yeah. Select disk 0, and then it has now selected this disk. We can kind of see what's on it. List partitions. We can see right here that it doesn't have any free bytes, so it has been thoroughly partitioned out. Cool. We have a 500 megabyte partition and a 237 gigabyte partition. It doesn't know. Hey, look at that. It's a Linux. Cool. So we are still selected into disk 0. What we're going to do right now is press clean. Boop. And it now has cleaned the disk. If we go ahead and list partitions again, there are no partitions. Awesome. If you hate terminals, I don't get you, but that's all you have to do. That's it. Please do that though. Like seriously, it will neutralize whatever might be on there. If it's got bad stuff going on, it'll take care of it. It'll wipe it right out. Any nefarious extra boot partitions or what have you that could be loading in viruses, whatever the case may be. Just clear it all out. Or, what if it had someone's sensitive, all of your embarrassing childhood birthday photos? That's what's on every hard drive that you don't clear. And if you don't clear them, the whole world will see it. That's your karma. That's your curse if you don't clear the hard drives. So do it this way. Diskpart, list disk, select the disk that you're going to install to. It should be 0. It might not always be. And then clean it. If the disk does not show up, ooh, that's fun. Okay, if the disk doesn't show up, don't worry. We're gonna go back over here, and we're gonna go through these menus the way you would. Fun fact, you can tab space, doing it registers to click on the next. Classic tech. Auxiliary content. At least we're all good. Okay, and it's still loading. It's still loading. Cool. If the disk doesn't show up and you put one in and it shows up in the BIOS and it doesn't show up here, go here, click install driver. There will be one pre-made. It is a pain to make this, but there's a driver library that has the drivers to make the drive show up. It'll be a flash drive and or like a USB 3.0. In our offline driver library, there is a folder called RST RAID drivers, or just RST RAID. It has the extracted RAID drivers up through 13th gen. And if the disk doesn't show up, go into that menu, plug that thing in, go to the right folder. Just that main folder should have all of the drivers there. And then whatever shows up, those should be options which should make the drive show. Cool. There we go. So now we see our disk. It's all free, unallocated space because we cleared it in diskpart. That's how it should look. If you just got to the point where you loaded a driver and now it's showing up, go back in. You can, even though you're here, you can still Shift F10 to get in here. You can type in diskpart and do the clear command. But we don't need to do that now. We're just going to keep going like normal. We're going to go ahead and install Windows. Cool. That's just going to take a few minutes, and then we should be good to go for updates and drivers and whatnot. Now, this is usually one of those opportunities that I would take to get started on another system. This is a great multitasking point once you have Windows installing, because after that's done, then you gotta load drivers and then run benchmarks, and there's just kind of a lot of press a button and then walk away for a while. So, that being said, here we are in our brand new installation. Now, fun fact, we don't have to do any of this. That's part of why I skipped the Rufus situation earlier, was so that we could just try that. Haha. See, this is a totally normal Windows 11 USB ISO burn. And this works, which is great because from here, cool, we do have mouse. I wasn't sure about that. Once you have this, you can kind of click in here and you can press Windows key X. Sometimes you have to do it again. And bam, we get our little Windows menu. And you can use the mouse here or you can use hotkeys, whatever your thing is. But we want to go over here and connect to the internet. Ideally, you could use this as an opportunity to test some Ethernet functionality. This does have Thunderbolt ports, so those should work for Ethernet. But right now, I'm just going to do Wi-Fi. So I'm going to edit this out while I show you what my Wi-Fi situation. Okay, so the nice thing about just doing the normal install where you go through the GUI is that it should automatically load the correct version of Windows for whatever product key might be tied to the motherboard. I'm going to take this moment to talk about Windows product keys just for a second. Ever since the Windows 8 days, the product key has largely been tied to the motherboard in situations where an operating system was pre-installed in the system, such as this right here. And that product key might still be valid. We should check. So this command here, once you're connected to the internet, will allow you to do it really fast. It's slmgr/ato. Now, I said earlier you don't have to use the terminal. It's just a hell of a lot faster. I'm going to show you the other way to do it right now. So as you can see here, product is activated successfully. Core edition, I'm guessing that means this is home version. Let's go ahead and find that out. So we're going to go ahead and do the whole Windows key X situation. And then N, or you just press the settings key to get over to your settings. And then once you're here, you can search for activation. Boom. And then you can go in here. I've already activated it, but you can check for activation there. You can see what kind of license is installed. You can see what kind of version. So we have Windows 11 Home installed and it's active. So that's what I'm going to do right now. We got Windows 11 Home. And then I'm going to put this here for active. I'll do like a big, if it's not activated, I'll do an X and I'll make another thing down here being product key. If that is the case, make sure to note that the product key on the motherboard is not valid. And then check the build guide for more advice that I can't talk about. Just in case we post this to YouTube. All right. Now, the next step is going to be drivers. If you have a bunch of the same system, we've been getting them a lot, the Dell Latitudes of this world, chances are we already have the drivers, so downloading them would be a huge waste of time. Windows key M is what I press to get this open, and that just pulls up Device Manager right here. And from here, in Windows 11, you go Add Drivers, and then you can add our driver library, USB, and then navigate to the correct one. You go to the folder that has all of the exported drivers, and it'll just automatically load them. You'll reboot, and you're good to go. You pull up Device Manager again, and everything that doesn't have a driver is here with a warning sign. So right now, our job is to make all of these warning signs go away, and to make sure we have the most recent updates. That same Driver library should also have the most recent Windows 11 cumulative update package downloaded from the Microsoft Security Catalog. You're welcome. If you don't want to deal with that, which I get it, connect to the internet, check for updates. It's automatically going to install drivers. This is both good and bad. Most of the time, this is fine. So don't worry about it. For older systems, this can be a nightmare. Or anything that has weird hardware configurations, extra manufacturer stuff. Go to the manufacturer website for those. The Tough Books of this world. Ultra rare gaming laptops. Or if you find yourself in a situation where something like the keys, like the hotkeys, don't work, you can't make the volume go up and down, things like that, and like whatever drivers it downloaded from Microsoft don't fix that, definitely check the manufacturer website for those too. Be aware that a lot of older drivers that worked just fine historically, excuse me. Be aware that a lot of drivers that worked just fine historically have not worked great so far on 25H2. I first started noticing the problem about a year ago on 24H2. Take that for what you will. You can go back to older versions of Windows 11, but Microsoft will be mad at you. And that means they'll be mad at whoever gets the computer when we're done with it. So if you're in a situation like that, well, you could always still sell it as is. You could list it with a as is for parts kind of thing, but then just be like it's fully tested. Because even if you have to install an old version of Windows and it might not last as long as other ones, you might not be able to run the most up-to-date software without upgrading the whole operating system to a more recent version, it will still let you stress test the system. It will still let you benchmark everything. And that's important. At this point, you're really just trying to maximize value and minimize time spent. Okay, once you have either copied over from our driver library or downloaded and extracted the benchmark software, go ahead and copy stuff over. And then if you have a GPU, also run the Unigine Heaven EXE installer. If you ever need a username, I just go with OEM, Original Equipment Manufacturer. They don't know that's not true. They don't know I didn't make this at home from scratch. Why not? Cool. So now we have installed Unigine, and I have already taken the liberty of copying that stuff over. So we are here. As you can see, there's Cinebench, there's Libre Hardware Monitor. I'm going to start off by going to Libre Hardware Monitor. And then, I just like to use the keys to make that go a little faster. You can just start typing and do it. If you get something like this where Windows protected your PC from Libre Hardware Monitor, oh gosh, you can go more info and then run anyway. So all the way down here at the end of Libre Hardware Monitor is information pulled from the BMS. You don't want to take this completely at face value. You want to make sure that this is somewhere in the expected range, and for the size of the battery in this system, that is perfectly within the expected range. Somewhere around 67 watt hour, or 6.7 watt hours. Sorry, yeah, 67 watt hours or so would be, well within expectation for that. It says charge level is only at 98. I guess that makes sense. It was on charge for a while before we got started. But we have either a situation where there's been no loss to the capacity of this battery, basically no degradation to the battery cells, or the BMS is lying, and I'm going to suspect it's that. So, okay, the problem with this is that now when we go to list it, we can't just be like, hey, this is the health that we would expect it to be at. We kind of have to take a guess. So when that happens, like, err on the conservative side and just say it's probably about halfway through its life expectancy. In this case, though, because of the age of the system, that feels less like playing it on the safe side. To be honest with you, that's probably just about accurate. But nonetheless, we can just say that and be like, you're probably gonna have to replace this battery.
Run Cinebench R23 and Unigine Heaven benchmarks. Compare the results to what you would expect online for a similar system configuration. If it's a pass, great, you can go ahead and move on, and if not, it's time to redo the thermal paste. We'll get back to that in another episode. If your system is equipped with a GPU, you can press Windows key X and then R to pull up the run command dialog box, and then you can pull up DXDiag, DirectX Diagnostics. I'll tell you all your information about your display adapter, your GPU, etc. Double check that all the drivers work by checking that the speakers, webcam, microphone, all the ports work. If anything doesn't work, you can check the manufacturer website. Once all the drivers are installed, you can check the hotkeys by using keyboardtest.com or similar online keyboard test services. Make sure to note the display resolution with either DirectX Diagnostic or from the settings menu. You get lots of good photos, especially of all of the blemishes and defects of the system, and then you're good to go. You're all set. Good job.
The last little thing you're gonna need to do with testing, other than of course saving the good stickers and throwing away the bad ones, giving it a nice cleaning up, a good old shine, is to test all the I/O. Gotta test that USB-A port right there. We got a headphone jack right there. You got 2 Thunderbolt ports on this one and an HDMI. Thunderbolt definitely needs to have video run out through it to pass a test. Pay close attention to USB-C. Some of them are just USB 3.0 in a USB-C form factor. Some of them are Thunderbolt. Some of them take power delivery and some of them don't. There's going to be little symbols down there. One thing to be mindful of is if you just see the DisplayPort symbol next to a USB-C port, that is literally just a fancy USB 3 port that can also do DisplayPort over USB-C. It is what it says on the tin, you know? If you know how to read the runes that they come up with, they're pretty cool. I don't know. I guess that's a video about how to assess how much of a pain it is to fix a laptop and what the absolute bare minimum is for a viable build. In a case like this, make sure to match it with a charger if possible. USB-C is a bit trickier than you might expect. With that one, brands need to have brands be the same in order for it to know how much power it has access to. It's a nightmare, but welcome to the nightmare. The barrel chargers, the standard laptop chargers, usually we have plenty of extras, so go ahead and bundle them up. Make sure to be careful to match the correct power. Remember, volts times amps equals watts. And so if you have a charger that is telling you how many watts it is, and then the bottom of the laptop tells you it needs a certain amperage, you can kind of figure it out that way. Usually it'll also say the amperage in really fine print, so get out the magnifying glasses. But once that's all done, you take your final photographs. Make sure to zoom in on all of the blemishes and defects. Those are extra crucial. And something like this, please give these hinges a good wiggling. If any of the bottom panel screws are missing or mismatched, it's definitely great to make note of that in listing. Those are just the few final thoughts. Yeah, once again, this video covered everything from meeting a laptop for the first time to knowing when to stop. And next time, like I said, we're going to get into how to start fixing shit. It's going to be great. All right.